This is episode 84 of Pinnacle FC Champions League edition. Gareth Wheeler, Jake Osgathorpe with you as we're on to the round of 16 at the Champions League, a competition which has treated this podcast very well in terms of profit, and we hope to continue to cash for the duration of this year's competition. We have an official bracket. It's at this round of 16 stage where the picture becomes pretty clear. And Jake, on the one side of the bracket, you have predominantly the big dogs, and on the other side of the bracket, you have Barcelona, Arsenal, and Bodo Glimt. When we look at the futures markets, especially Bodo Glimt, the futures markets are readily available on Pinnacle. That's all the markets that we use on this podcast: Bet Smart, Bet Pinnacle. Anything that stands out for you when it pertains to the draw, other than the fact that the one thing that we know is Manchester City is going to face Real Madrid?
Yeah. You definitely want to be avoiding that top half of the bracket for sure. I mean, you've got PSG, Chelsea, Liverpool, Galatasaray, Real Madrid, Man City, Atalanta, Bayern Munich. That's a very, very stacked half of the draw. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see any of those, bar Atalanta and Galatasaray, make the final. We've seen with Chelsea, they won the Club World Cup. They beat PSG in the final, so they're capable of doing that. Liverpool, their performances in Europe have been pretty good recently, especially away from home. Bayern Munich probably will come out of that bracket side of the bracket, you would imagine, especially with the league title pretty much wrapped up. It means that they can rotate at the weekend. So I generally would avoid that side of the bracket. And other than that, I mean, probably going to get a Barcelona Atletico Madrid quarter, which we've just seen in the Copa del Rey. That was pretty entertaining. And yeah, look, it's hard to look past Arsenal. They've shortened since the bracket, since the draw was made as well. They were around plus 350. They're into plus 240 to win the competition off the back of the fact that they are in the easier half of the draw, and effectively they've got to beat Leverkusen, then one of Bodo or Sporting, and they're in the semi-final, which, you would imagine, I don't want to be too disrespectful to any of those teams, but Arsenal could probably play their second string and get to the semi-final. Because, I think Arsenal's second string is the fifth best team in the Premier League, never mind in Europe. I think Arsenal, it's hard to look past them, and you would have to fancy them in a two-legged tie against Barcelona, given how vulnerable defensively Barca are and how solid defensively Arsenal are. So I think I'd still be backing Arsenal at the prices, given the route and given how stacked the other side of the draw is. I don't know about you. Have you got a big price dart that you're thinking of throwing?
I'll break it down for you what the futures markets that are available on Pinnacle are. The first one is an English team to win this competition, where, let's be honest, 4.5, 4.25 English teams are still in this competition. I have to say that because Tottenham Hotspur are somehow still alive.
Probably being generous with the quarter.
Half, a quarter. They're there making up the numbers.
26, 27 championship winners, Tottenham.
Yeah. Well, they can go on and make the round of 16 in the Champions League and play in the championship next year.
Exactly.
An English team to win the tournament, yes, at minus 130, no, pays out at plus 111, which I think if I'm going to take a swing, City aren't the team that they've been in previous versions of this competition. Liverpool certainly are not. Newcastle has a difficult tie against Barcelona. So basically, you're hedging your bet with Arsenal from where I sit. So when you can just bet Arsenal outright at plus 240, that seems to be a better bet than me to play. So I would make the play on no, an English side wouldn't win, which just opens the door for anyone. Barcelona, Bayern Munich are certainly going to be in contention from where I sit. There are a number of different teams that you can kind of hitch your wagon to. Injuries, lots of things can happen between now and then. So we'll see how that plays out. But that would be the smarter play for me. We haven't even mentioned PSG yet, a team that hasn't looked themselves in this competition, but the reigning champions in this tournament. I'll just turn your question that you asked me back on you. Is Arsenal the play here based upon the path they have the shortest odds at plus 240. Bayern Munich is next at plus 500. So there's quite a bit of a gap there. Or is there another side that you're maybe casting your eye towards that maybe can go on a run, maybe it's a preferable draw, or maybe it's a team that's shown you something in this competition?
Um, not really. I don't. I think PSG have shown they've got a lot of defensive vulnerabilities this season. They've got still issues in injury wise as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chelsea come through that tie against PSG. I just think Chelsea are just so vibrant, and the energy that they play within that Club World Cup final. If they can find similar over two legs, I think they could knock PSG out. Liverpool, big question marks around them as well. So inconsistent. Real Madrid, we know that they're a shell of themselves. City, good side, but again have their flaws. You'd say Bayern Munich the same. I think it's very hard to see anyone other than Arsenal and Bayern Munich personally getting to the final and winning the competition, because Bayern Munich look like the standout team in that half of the draw. I think they've already beaten PSG and Chelsea in the Champions League this season as well. And then the other side, you have to look at Atletico potentially making a little bit of a deeper run than what we used to seeing. Because Tottenham, I'm not going to say it's a gimme because no tie's a gimme, but Tottenham have got much bigger fish to fry with the Premier League relegation issues. And then if they get Newcastle or Barcelona, they'll fancy their chances of getting through that, given the fact that they've just done Barca over two legs in the Copa del Rey. So yeah, but plus 2,500 Atletico Madrid, but it's just whether you give them any chance in a tie against Arsenal. And I personally don't. I mean, we saw that game at the Emirates, didn't we? It was 4-0 to Arsenal. So yeah, I just stick with the top two in the betting. I think it's hard to make a case for anyone else.
I mean, how the times change quickly, because even a couple months ago, Real Madrid at plus 1,600 would have been a preferable price. But with the injuries in this team and the questions heading into this tie against Man City, it's probably a number that might not be short enough. So we'll get into that in a few moments' time. But that was the one number and the one team that are perennial absolute monsters in this competition. To be plus 1,600 at this stage seems like a big old number. All right, let's get into the individual ties, and we'll run through them as quickly as possible to keep your listening or viewing habits to a minimum, to a limit. We'll deal with what we need to do right here for this podcast. And let's start off with the Tuesday fixtures this upcoming week in the Champions League. And let's start off with Galatasaray and Liverpool. Two sides that have already played in this competition this season. Galatasaray beat Liverpool 1-0 at home. Both had an XG in that game of over 1. In fact, Galatasaray have played Liverpool twice in their history, and they've gone out to win both games. And they seem to be on a little bit of a decent run of form, especially at home. In this competition, they managed to survive a chaotic second leg against Juventus after running away with the first leg of that game. Liverpool are a side that haven't looked their best in recent weeks. Florian Wirtz is out, and with a limited squad and a team with Mo Salah, I mean, he scored almost 30 goals last season. He's only scored 5 this year. They just don't look to be as strong of a side as they were in this competition last year. To qualify, Galatasaray plus 467, Liverpool all the way at minus 678 to qualify. That is a huge number. In the first leg, Galatasaray to win outright plus 309, the draw at plus 291, minus 124 to back Liverpool. The handicap is set at 3/4 of a goal, and the total is set at 3. From where I'm sitting, Jake, there looks to be some value, at least in a first leg play, backing the home side in Galatasaray. I'm not sure if that's your read on what the markets are suggesting as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think we kind of saw it in the playoff round, didn't we? The home team in the first leg, they've got to win that home leg. I mean, if Galatasaray hadn't won so comfortably against Juventus, they would have got just annihilated in the second leg. I think it's really important. It's similar, obviously, going to Anfield. It's similar for Galatasaray to carry a lead, or at least have something, a draw. That they can't be trailing heading to Anfield, otherwise they could just get blown out of the water. It could be a 5 or 6-0 aggregate. So, I think that they've shown plenty at home this season. I mean, like you said, they've been good. They've lost just twice in 17 all competitions at home this season. They've already beaten them. I think only one of those defeats actually came in the Champions League as well. So they've avoided defeating the other 4. And Liverpool, they've away from home. We've just seen them play against Wolves in the league. We're recording this on Friday, so we don't know how they've gone on in the cup. But they've only won 7 of the last 17 away games across all competitions, so they're not exceptionally prolific enough to want to back at -124. A very difficult ground, a difficult place to go, with a heavy schedule and a team that's not very deep due to injuries. So, I think that Galatasaray plus 3/4 of a goal, -120 is the way in. Half you bet on Galatasaray to avoid defeat, half you bet on Galatasaray to lose by 1. So, yeah, this definitely looks the way into me. And I think it was the same bet for Juventus, wasn't it? I think it was the same line plus at 3/4 of a goal. So, yeah, definitely like this one.
I will buy it down to just half a goal, more of a true 50-50 play, both sides. It plays at +103. The exact same play. We'll see what Liverpool looks like here over the next few weeks. It's a critical one as they're still playing for top 4. Thankfully for them, Aston Villa have really stumbled in the Premier League, which has really opened up that door. But it's a difficult time for, once again, a side that's limited. I might even take a nibble, just a small bite on Galatasaray to qualify at +467. I think that line is juiced based upon what people expect Liverpool to be, not what they actually are at present time. But yeah, Galatasaray plus half a goal at +103 will be a play for me. Thank you for pointing that out. We're recording this podcast Friday before the weekend fixtures have started. So if there's anything that needs to be updated, make sure that you do the requisite research to bring yourself up to speed. Newcastle and Barcelona, these two sides already played in this year's competition as well. Barcelona victorious 2-1 over Newcastle, a side that continues to do relatively well. It's been a little bit of a yo-yo of a season as they've struggled at times domestically, but their home form continues to be excellent. Now you can get them to win outright against a very depleted Barcelona side. They've suffered a lot of injuries in their team at +170, +137 if you want Barcelona to win that first leg, +287 for the draw. The handicap is right at 0. So a draw no bet both ways, +106 to back Newcastle, -124 to back Barcelona, and the total is set at 3.25. To qualify, Newcastle at +225, Barcelona at -291. Despite the injuries and absences in this Barcelona team, do they have enough to get past a difficult Newcastle side, a team not without their injuries as well, by the way, but a team that is very resilient in a way and rise to occasions at home at St. James's Park on nights like we're going to see next week?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult purely because of the fact that this is a good matchup for Newcastle. I think in the sense that Barca play such a high line and Newcastle have such rapid wingers that they could kill them on the counter attack if they get it right with the timing of the runs. If you can get any props on Newcastle offsides, definitely look at the over in this first leg because I think they're going to be quite a lot of Anthony Gordon, Anthony Elanga just hanging off the back line and looking to spring. I give Newcastle a decent chance. Like you said, there's so many injuries with Barcelona. And the St James's Park has been a fortress in terms of the amount of games that they've won. They very rarely lose. I know that they've lost a couple recently, but I think that's more due to build-up of games. And Barcelona away from home are really, really gettable. There is a situation, a scenario here where Newcastle take a 2 or maybe even 3 goal lead back to the Camp Nou. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. We just saw Atletico Madrid pump them 4-0 in the Copa del Rey on their travels. And if you look across the last 17 away matches, Barcelona have conceded 33 goals, which is an average of 1.94 per game. Newcastle, they've scored 2 or more goals in 20 of 25 home games this season across all competitions. So Newcastle team total over 1.5 goals at -101. That's the way I'm going to be playing this one.
Yeah, I Newcastle team total over 1.5 goals. I'm actually fine with over the total in this game period at 3.25. At minus 102. I'm happy to do either play here. Newcastle games have been full of goals in recent weeks and in this competition and at home. And Barcelona, a good enough defensive side at home, away from home, it's been a little bit of a nightmare as of late in terms of goals that they've actually conceded as well. Newcastle over 1.5 goals at plus 104. Is that what you have? Plus 104 or plus 101, did you say? Has it come down?
Minus 101.
Minus 101. Okay.
Yes, slight
in my
odds on
notes, in my notes, it was plus 104. So there's been a considerable move towards, or a notable move, let's put it that way, towards that. But it won't affect what I think about making a play in that game. Okay, Atalanta and Bayern Munich. Atalanta came from behind. It was a really good home performance where they played Borussia Dortmund off the pitch. In the end, it ended in chaos and madness with a late penalty to see them advance. But they're a side that has grown accustomed to this competition and have fared pretty well. They take on a Bayern Munich side who actually have had lots of rest in recent weeks. The side has played a lot of football, but just weekend fixtures. Harry Kane is sitting out the Friday fixture against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Sounds like it's more precaution than anything else. He could return for the first leg against Atalanta. And Alphonso Davies looks like he could be a surprise to get back into the mix as well. Barcelona have just about wrapped up the Bundesliga. They're up 11 points with 10 games to go, which means this competition will very much be in the forefront. Do Atalanta have a chance here? The markets suggest probably not. Atalanta to win this first leg at plus 342. Barcelona, or Bayern Munich, that is, at minus 161. The handicap is set at a full goal, and the total for the match is set at 3.25.
I give them a decent chance, Atalanta, of getting a result in this first leg. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they had a draw or maybe even snuck a win. I mean, they've been so good at home for a long period of time under the new manager now. It's just 2 defeats and, what's that? 11 wins, so over 13 home games, all competitions. 11 wins, 2 defeats. The 2 defeats, one of them came against Inter in the league, and the other one came in a really random defeat to Bilbao in the Champions League. But other than that, I mean, they've beaten Chelsea, who obviously finished in the top 8. They beat Dortmund, Bayern Munich's closest challengers, quite convincingly in that second leg. It's a tough place to go, Bergamo. We've seen it across many years now that they are very, very competitive on the home patch. Got so much attacking flair, and they'll take the game to Bayern Munich and try and expose their defensive issues. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them get a result. Do I trust them enough to back them? Probably not. Because you Bayern Munich, as you said, you've got the title wrapped up. They can rest a little bit. They can rotate. Really put the tie to bed in the first leg. But yeah, I mean, if I was to have a bet, I've not got a bet in this one, but if I was, I would have a small bet on Atalanta just to win the game outright. Small stakes, plus 342. And if it comes off, it comes off, because it wouldn't surprise me.
I will oppose Atalanta in this game, and it's about the fixture build up. They played in between these Champions League fixtures and league fixtures as well, which they played some decent teams, Swallow among others. They played a Coppa Italia semifinal, 2 legs against Lazio. They played them on Wednesday. They play Udinese Saturday. Bayern Munich for the last 3 weeks have just played weekend fixtures, and the Bundesliga have done them a favor by playing at home on a Friday ahead of going to Bergamo, where they can rest their talisman, Harry Kane, who him and this team from an attacking perspective were on a record-setting pace. Do I trust Bayern Munich to keep a clean sheet? Never, or just about never, especially going to a place like Atalanta. But the best value I can find in that market is both teams to score, yes, and Bayern Munich to win at plus 179. You're backing a team that concedes, but it doesn't really matter. The way that they attack, they're fearless. They come in waves, and it's almost baked in that they can concede and still get away with it. They've scored 88 goals over their domestic season. They're going to shatter. Like the record for goals in a Bundesliga season is 101. They're on pace to score 124. Okay, so it's baked in. It's just how they play. And as long as Harry Kane's going to be in that team, which we believe, we've very little reason to believe that Friday's anything other than rest. That's the way that I'm going to approach it. So plus 179, that's a big old number for me to back and get behind it. It will be an official play. Anything else there?
Nope. Let's get on to relegation threatened Spurs.
Well, that's the thing. They take on Atletico Madrid, who have also played a lot of football. But I think the headline is Spurs and their relegation form, and how they've been dragged in to a relegation fight. Igor Tudor looks absolutely stunned. It looks like a deer in the headlights. It's almost a situation.
He may not be in charge for this first leg.
It might not. But he's like, what did I sign up for? I mean, at least he'll get a paycheck on his way out, but it's an unmitigated disaster. They've lost 5 in a row. This team was very fortunate. I think they played really soft schedule to finish in the top 8 and move on to this phase of the competition. Atletico Madrid, I mean, this team can score goals for fun. They are an absolute juggernaut at home, and they're very, very poor away from home. Still, Atletico Madrid, significant favorites in this game and to qualify. Minus 182 to win this game, plus 264 to qualify. Are you laughing at Spurs, or did I say something?
No, I'm just laughing at you saying Atletico are terrible away from home, and I'm just thinking Spurs are useless at home as well. What the hell's that second leg going to be?
It's going to be decided in the first leg, most definitely.
Probably.
Yeah. Look, there are just so many injuries and the level of discontent and unrest. Can you actually make the case to back Spurs? I mean, the handicap is a goal in this game. The total set at 2 3/4. I've been on this for weeks now. It's just not a team that I can find a way to back in any way, shape, or form. And quite frankly, I'm happy to take the goal in the handicap with Atletico Madrid with a smile on my face.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Spurs, they're just the gift that keep on giving. You think it can't get any worse, and then they go 1-0 up against Crystal Palace, and you think, they're going to get themselves out. Oh no, Van der Ven's been sent off, and there's a penalty. Oh dear. Let's shoot ourselves in the foot once again. Fortunately for them, at least, Van der Ven and Christian Romero are going to be available for this.
We've documented on this podcast before the team with and without Romero. It's like night and day, just in terms of how they perform. So there is a case to be made.
Yeah, and the Romero has been flaunting himself to all the different clubs across Europe as well, looking for a move. And Atletico were one of the teams that he was very close to joining. So
looked good. He'd look good on that team. Looked very good.
He would be the perfect Simeone disciple, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So you might get a really big game from him as he pushes for to try and win over a couple of suitors for a move in the summer. But ultimately, it's just a team devoid of confidence. And I guess the concern for me is that the relentless nature of the Premier League, it's just hammering the players down. They might see this Champions League as a bit of a relief, a bit of a release.
Did it last year? Did it last year in the Europa League, because they were likewise.
They went and won it. They won the Europa League. It's a freedom, isn't it? You're not worried about relegation. If you get knocked out, you get knocked out.
Well, but last year, the Europa League quality last year, in the competition they faced, weren't very good. I mean,
100%, yeah. So, I'm just making a case as to would I be shocked if Spurs rocked up there and actually got a result? No, I wouldn't. With those two at centre half, and with the fact that, like I said, they've got no pressure, no one's expecting anything of them. It's a free hit, and Atletico Madrid, they've laid a few eggs recently. Let's not forget they lost at home to Bodo Glimt when they had a chance to finish in the top 8. They had to go through a playoff round because they lost at home to Bodo Glimt, and Bodo are a good team, but we like backing them in the Arctic Circle. We don't like backing them away from home. But yeah, I'm just going to back the goal line here, over 2.75. I think Igor Tudor's shown already. He's shown his hand. He's not a vintage Sam Allardyce, 1-0 Tony Pulis, 1-0 Firefighter. His teams are quite open. They're not very good at defending. They have a go at attacking. And whatever messages he's sending, they're just not getting across to the players, which means that most of the games are just a bit free for all. So goal line for me, 2.75. I probably would have it at 3. So yeah, minus 115.
How did they land on Igor Tudor? Did they lose Harry Redknapp's number? Is Ryan Mason still kicking her?
Yeah, we need to get Pinnacle to price up a special of Harry Redknapp to be the next Spurs manager. Yeah.
Wow.
Sure,
Wow.
but after Cheltenham, he's a big horse racing guy. So after Cheltenham ends the trade,
Right.
big festival. He's got a few runners there. He
Yeah.
won't be able to take over beforehand. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Okay, the Wednesday fixtures, Bayer Leverkusen against Arsenal. We've documented it. Arsenal's significant favorites to go on and win this competition. Leverkusen have had a little bit of success against Premier League sides, beating Man City in this competition 2-0 away this year. The first leg, they're playing at home, plus 480 to back the German side, minus 184 for the Arsenal. The handicap is set at a goal, and the total just 2.5. Arsenal to qualify, minus 1,018. Wow. They are considerable favorites here. Is there a play that you like heading into this first leg?
Not for me. I don't have anything I really fancy. I could see this going any sorts of ways. Really, I could see Arsenal clamping down and keeping it tight. I could see them shredding by Leverkusen, who have shown defensive vulnerabilities. I could see them winning 1-0, a set piece or something like that. So, yeah, I won't be at all surprised. They are the shortest priced of any team to qualify, which does make sense because I do make them the best team in Europe, especially in knockout competition when you've got such a solid defensive foundation. Very, very well. When you've got such a high floor, the consistency that you bring is exceptional, and it's hard to bet against them. I'm just going to sit this one out, and I probably won't be watching this on Wednesday. I'll be watching the Real Madrid Man City game, or maybe even Bodo. I'll watch Bodo instead. PSG Chelsea. That's a good one.
If you want to see, free flowing football, this isn't the game to watch. I mean,
if you love set pieces, if you live for the corner shop,
well, that's the thing. Arsenal, the best scrum half in the league. Like it's like watching a rugby union whenever they take a set piece. I mean, just like. That's why I think they can score. This has 1-0 to the Arsenal written all over it. Leverkusen have scored twice in their last 5 games with Petr Cech out. Like they just really struggled to create anything in attack. So the Arsenal win to 0, I'm shocked, is plus 172. That's just about as good of a number as that you can find on the market heading into this first leg. So I'll be making that play. All right, we'll just leave it at that and move on. But I think it's a cracking bet to make.
Yeah.
Real Madrid and Man City. Who is going to be playing for Real Madrid next week? Like, I think that, maybe, earlier in the season when Xabi Alonso went out, maybe you could have jumped on board and managed this team. Like that. Will Kylian Mbappe be back? Admittedly, there's a ton of questions about Real Madrid heading into this next leg. If things go their way, then maybe they'll have a strong enough squad. But going into their fixture this weekend, I believe is it today? It's Friday against Celta Vigo. Man, they are depleted. Camavinga is sitting out. They have a couple suspensions. Man, they are completely depleted. They take
Great
on a man.
News for those on the Celta plus quarter.
Yeah, I mean, yes, everything that we spoke about on the last podcast, I take it back. I've completely jumped on Jake's side of that equation as soon as I saw the sheer number of players that are out.
Yeah, I've got a list here: Carreras, Huijsen, Mascherano, Militao, Alaba, Bellingham, Mbappe, Rodrigo, Camavinga, Ceballos. They're all missing for this weekend. Obviously, Mascherano will be back from suspension for the midweek game, but they are so light on the ground. And then the big thing about is Mbappe. I mean, all the reports coming out of Madrid are saying that his knee injury is actually slightly worse than what they were expecting, which means that he doesn't want to jeopardise his place at the World Cup. So he's thinking of just kind of, I don't know, putting the sandals on and just not barely playing for the rest of the season. He doesn't want to stress it even more. So, yeah. I mean, the bet has to be Man City in some way, shape or form. It's just whether you want to back them to win at plus 118 in this first leg.
Yeah. Okay, so City are on a decent run of form. Semenyo and Gay have completely... This is why you go out and buy in January. And they've done well to do that. City beat Real Madrid already in this competition this year, 2-1. They play every year. Like, there's so much familiarity there. But on the other side of the coin, Real Madrid has had a whole lot of success against City, bar 2023. Like, they played really well. These have been really watchable games. Both teams to score in the overs, seems to cash every time. I just don't think that I'm in a position to make a bet whatsoever, not knowing who's in and who's out for Real Madrid. Like, if they have something that resembles even defensively more of a full strength side, there might be some value getting on the Real Madrid side of things. Just sitting here on Friday, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Like, City haven't been good. Like, I know they played better, but still, Erling Haaland hasn't been 100% healthy. I'm just unconvinced by much of what I see about Man City. I think that they are still alive and doing well enough based upon the fact that there aren't really many standout teams right now, and they have enough to get across the line. That might be the case here as well, but this is the one tie that I have no play whatsoever. Too many unknowns for me.
Yeah, no, I was going to be backing Man City on the team total, but the price is gone. I mean, I mentioned just a second ago, Man City to win was plus 118. It's now down to plus 107. So I think closer to kickoff, you're going to be getting odds on Manchester City to win. So yeah, take the City goal total now while you can, because minus 124, I think that's still absolutely in range. I mean, the way in which Benfica shredded Real Madrid in that second leg at the Bernabeu was massively concerning, and I think City will be able to do something similar. So,
okay,
yeah, that's
two more ties to get to. We'll try to do so quickly. They're the story of this tournament. They're probably the story of football. It's Bodo Glimt from the Arctic Circle. The Norwegian side continues to march on, upsetting Inter. With not much debate about whether they deserve to go through or not. They were excellent over the course of those two legs in succession. They beat Inter, they beat City, and they beat Atletico Madrid. That sounds pretty legitimate to me. And what a draw for them as well. They take on Sporting, a very young side who's done well of this competition. But if you looked at the other potential suitors, I mean, this is an absolute opportunity for Bodo to go out and potentially do some damage. You can get them to win their first match, which is played at home on the artificial turf, a place where they're just a pain in the ass to play against, at plus 153. Plus 157 is just about split evenly both ways if you want to back Sporting. And the total is set at 3. Interestingly, to qualify for this dream scenario to continue, you can get Bodo Glimt, back them at plus 176, Sporting all the way out at minus 223. I think the market has adjusted a little bit for how good Bodo Glimt plays at home, but maybe this is a sign of a little bit of disrespect towards the Norwegian side based upon that number that's available on market for them to qualify. How are you looking at this tie? I cannot wait to watch this.
Yeah, me neither. This is going to be my favourite game. Look, we're not going to be jumping off the Bodo bandwagon. That is for certain. They obviously, we've been mentioning that the Norwegian league, it does return next weekend.
I think it just weekend. Did it already kick off a cup game against Molde? Okay.
Cup game, yeah. They played in the midweek against Molde, which I think is a bonus as well, because the gap between the last Champions League round and this one was it 2 or 3 weeks? So they've had a competitive game in between just to keep them ticking over. They won that against one of the better teams in Norway, Molde. So yeah, look, the Norwegian league starts in between these two legs. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But we need to start treating Bodo as European specialists. I mean, they're the semi-final of Europa League last season.
Yep.
And now look what they're doing at the top table. So, yeah, you've got to ride with them. Plastic pitch, Arctic Circle. Their performances in all of the home games in the Champions League have been excellent. And, yeah, Sporting Lisbon. Look, they against the better teams, they generally struggle away from home. So they've already lost at Napoli and Bayern Munich in the Champions League. They drew with Juventus, and in Portugal, they only managed draws against Porto, Benfica on the travels. So, I mean, you're getting draw no bet for Bodo at minus 110, and that's where I'm going to start with my bets. I really like the look of that, where you get your money back if this ends all square. I think it's very difficult to see Sporting winning this first leg, because Bodo, I think, it's the preparation thing we talked about before. They'll have had a full 2 weeks knowing the draw to get ready for this game against Sporting, whereas Sporting have had big games in between. They played Porto in the Cup. They've got Braga away the game before this, and they're still in the title race in Portugal, our Sporting. It's a big game. So yeah, I think Bodo on the draw on a bet. I'm also going to be backing Bodo win and both teams to score as a bit of an outsider at plus 326. Both teams' scores landed in 14 of Sporting's 17 away games, and we know Bodo can't keep a clean sheet for love nor money. I'm also just going to take the over as well at minus 105, over 3. Goals have been mental in both of these teams' games in the Champions League, so keep that theme going. 3 bets for me. I really like the look of this game.
Brilliant. 3 bets for me as well. You mentioned about the inability to keep clean sheets. Bodo Glimt won 7 matches despite not being able to keep a clean sheet. Sporting Lisbon scored in every Champions League game that they played in thus far. So they both bring the goals. Sporting has a couple suspensions and injuries, but I'll leave that alone. I'm just backing Bodo to win this game at plus 153. I think that them playing at home, they've shown that they can do it. I think you're getting good value on that. Over 3, I'm also making that. I'm also going to back Bodo Glimt to qualify at plus 176. So, look, this isn't a fairy tale. We're gambling, betting real money here, but I still think that there's some value. It's being depleted from what it was, but there's still some real value there against its team. I think is beatable. They're very young. They're good, but are they great? I think it's a real opportunity for Bodo Glimt here. Finally, Chelsea and PSG. The first leg's being played in the French capital. They haven't looked their vintage selves, the reigning champions in this competition. Perhaps a little bit leggy, a little bit tired. But both these sides, of course, played in the Club World Cup last summer. We know how that played out with Chelsea being crowned as champions there. To back PSG in the first leg, minus 122. Wow. The total is set at 3 to qualify. PSG minus 163, despite being only minus 122 at home. I'm not quite sure I understand that. And Chelsea at plus 131. What do you make of this? Some of the numbers in the market, the market seems a little bit confused about the way to approach this one.
Yeah, it shouldn't be really. I mean, just back goals. I mean, it's pretty straightforward with these two. I mean, PSG, they've just played out 2 legs against Monaco where there was a 5-goal and a 4-goal. And yeah, I mean, in the Champions League this season, if you'd have backed over 3 in every PSG game, you would have won 5 times, lost twice, and had 3 pushes. So you'd have been healthy profit. And then you look at Chelsea since Rossini took charge, and they've averaged 3.5 goals per game. So, I mean, there's defensive frailties in both camps, but both have very, very good, dangerous attacking players that can cause serious problems. And yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see this being a really high-scoring game, maybe even like a 2-2 or a 3-2 to PSG in the first leg, because I don't think Chelsea are going to sit back and soak up pressure and counter-attack. I mean, they've got the players are too good for that, as daft as that sounds. When you've got such good technical players that can dominate and dictate, they're going to try their best to do that to PSG. Yeah, I'm just taking the goals and just taking the result out of the equation.
Okay. I will bring, I agree with your assessment. I will bring the goals into the equation. Both teams to score, and over 2.5 is at minus 109. Over 3 is at minus 106. But how about both teams to score and PSG win? And that's what the market suggests to qualify if it's minus 163. It's not based upon their away form. It's them picking up a result at home. Both teams to score and PSG win is plus 238. I'm betting the number. It's not my favorite play of the week, but it might be my favorite number in terms of the markets on the board. So I'm betting it, and it will be part of my big board as well.
Nice.
Anything else, Dad? You good?
Yeah, let's rattle through the big board. Let's make some more money.
Let's go. Up to 5 units to play and up to 5 bets to make. Champions League is being profitable. Let's continue to roll. All right, Jake, the floor is yours.
Cool. I'm going to take a unit and a half on City over 1.5 team total at Real Madrid. That's minus 124. I'm going to do a unit on Newcastle on their team total as well at minus 101. I'm going to do a full unit on over 3 goals in the PSG Chelsea game at minus 106. A full unit on over three goals in the Bodo Sporting game as well at minus 105. I'm going to do half a unit on Bodo Glimt to win and both teams to score at plus 326.
Brilliant. Atalanta, Bayern Munich, both teams to score, and Bayern Munich to win at -179. Arsenal win to nil, 1-0 to the Arsenal at +172. I will also play over 3 Bodo Glimt Sporting at -105. Let's go Bodo Glimt to qualify at +176, and both teams to score, PSG to win against Chelsea at home at +238. So some big old numbers are being played, and Champions League has brought the goals, and let's hope that continues again this week. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Helps this podcast do its thing. And we hope that you do your thing and have a profitable week ahead in the Champions League. On behalf of Jake, I'm Wheels. This has been episode 84 of Pinnacle FC.